A snow apocalypse has hit Russia. Kamchatka is paralyzed. Panic in the capital. Moscow is being evacuated. Saratov and Engels are on fire. A night of terror has descended upon Russian cities. Electricity has disappeared. Darkness reigns across all of Russia. Crimea is burning. Ukrainian drones are hitting their targets precisely. Russia is sinking. Industry has come to a halt. The country is in shock. Cold, darkness, chaos. This is only the beginning. I'll tell you all the details in just a moment. Hello, this is Ukraine Today. I'm Victoria Panchenko, and here are the latest events. A snow apocalypse has hit Russia. A powerful cyclone has struck Kamchatka. Storm winds are ripping off roofs, and snowfalls have paralyzed life. Residents are working remotely. Planes have been urgently redirected to other airfields, and roads are blocked by trees that have been uprooted. Power lines can't withstand the weight of the snow. Sparks, flashes, and power outages are everywhere. Authorities are sounding the alarm. Businesses are switching employees to remote work, and schools in Petropavlovsk, Kamchatsky, and the Yelizovsky district are closed. Avalanche warnings have been issued in some areas. The airport is not operating. Trouble never comes alone. More than 700 people have been urgently evacuated from the elite Azimut Hotel in the center of Moscow. The sound of the fire alarm echoed throughout the hotel. Social media reports describe panic and chaos. The exact causes and information about any victims are still being clarified.
Azimut Olympic Hotel. There are a lot of children in the hotel because the LT-Fest Theater Festival is taking place. And very quickly, all the children, everyone, were evacuated. So we're all standing outside not knowing what's going on.
Later, it became known that guests were being allowed back into the hotel. According to Shud, a false fire alarm was triggered due to a power outage. Ukrainian drone sanctions in action. A night of terror also descended on Saratov and Engels. Air defense systems thundered over the cities, and the sky was lit up by blinding flashes. The territory of the Saratov oil refinery was in flames. Look, it's on fire. It's burning. Seriously, it's burning. The locals are in a panic. According to eyewitnesses, up to 7 explosions went off after midnight. Did you hear that?
Yeah, you could really hear it, couldn't you? All right, here I go again, just like before. Take that, damn it. Take that, damn it. Whoa, look how it's burning! Take that, damn it. Now that's what did it!
Unknown objects were circling in the sky, and tongues of flame were rising over the southwest of Saratov. Sirens wailed in the city, and people were urged over loudspeakers to stay away from windows and urgently seek shelter.
Potential threat of a drone attack. For your safety, please listen to the message until the end. Then follow the instructions.
If you forget,
when you finish the procedure, please remember to turn off the lights and water for safety reasons. Do not approach the windows. Move to the interior of the room or to areas located between solid load-bearing walls that do not have windows.
There is no official information. The authorities remain silent about the scale of the destruction and the number of casualties. Earlier, the regional governor warned of possible drone strikes, and Rosaviatsia hastily closed the airport. Russia is in shock. The war has reached deep into the country. Later reports came in of a repeated attack on the city. Powerful explosions thundered. Things were also tense in occupied Crimea. An incredible operation by our forces. The Hvardiyska oil depot came under attack from Ukrainian drones. The drones hit the pumping station on the facility's grounds with precision. This is already the third strike on this depot in less than a month. Our sources report that a crucial element of the occupiers' fuel and logistics system in Crimea has been hit. The Hvardiyska oil depot supplied military facilities and transport for the Russian army. Now the occupiers are left without fuel and support. Special operations forces continue asymmetric actions aimed at completely exhausting the enemy's ability to carry out offensive operations. Ukraine strikes without mercy. Every Russian attack on our energy sector is returned twice as powerfully. Now it is the Russians who are left without light and heat, and ahead lies only cold and chaos. The armed forces of Ukraine are disabling the enemy's critical infrastructure. Networks are collapsing, cities are sinking into darkness. This is only the beginning. The strikes of retribution will intensify with each passing day. All the details are coming up next.
On the night of November 9th, the Ukrainian armed forces struck the Vanish thermal power plant. After the strike, electricity disappeared in several houses and then came back. The Vanish thermal power plant is one of the largest suppliers of thermal energy in the region and provides it to 4 districts of the city.
It happened right before my eyes. I had just stepped out onto the balcony.
Right over there. Apparently along the wires. No, well, I heard 3, but they're saying 4.
This incident was attacked in Belgorod, leaving tens of thousands of residents without power. The governor of the region, Vyacheslav Gladkov, stated that the damage is very serious. According to
the results of yesterday evening's rocket attack, there is serious damage to the power and heating supply systems of the city of Belgorod. But our energy workers, as always, are heroically trying to cope with the task at hand. They are now diligently working to carefully restore and repair what was damaged by our enemies, making sure to address every detail.
a day earlier, Ukrainian drones struck energy facilities in Saratov, Engels, and the Volgograd region. Power outages were also reported there. With massive drone and missile attacks, Russia is trying to plunge Ukraine into a blackout. In turn, the Ukrainian army is delivering symmetrical strikes on Russia's energy sector. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky stated that the authorities are ready and will not only defend the infrastructure but also strike back in response.
What will happen with the electricity? Today, it's hard for me to say. We will be ready for any retaliatory challenges. We work on this every day. We will defend, we will fight. The Russians must know that step by step we will increase the production of everything so that they also feel what we feel. Volodymyr Zelensky, President of Ukraine.
In 2025, Russia is experiencing a trend of increasing electricity shortages as of October this year. The shortage of capacity in the power grid reaches tens of gigawatts. This was reported by the Foreign Intelligence Service of Ukraine.
Due to demand from industrial, residential, and municipal consumers exceeding the total generation of all power plants, as of October this year, the shortage of capacity in the power grid has already reached 25 gigawatts. Despite attempts by the RAF government to introduce at least some measures to stabilize its energy system, such as monetary compensation or discounts on electricity bills for voluntarily reducing consumption during peak hours, as well as disconnecting consumers who do not require guaranteed power supply, the growing electricity deficit indicates a systemic crisis in the Russian energy sector. The Foreign Intelligence Service of Ukraine.
In addition to wear and overload, systematic strikes by the AFU are also affecting the Russian energy system. If Ukrainian strikes even partially damage Russian thermal power plants, this will cause significant problems for Russia's energy sector. The AFU have already brought a blackout in southern Russia 60% closer.
AFU strikes are gradually knocking out high-voltage substations, which make it possible to transfer electricity from one region to another. If thermal power plants are also destroyed, they will face a much more difficult situation than we do. Alexander Karchenko, director of the Energy Research Center.
Not only Russian regions, but also Moscow are suffering from Ukrainian drone attacks and power outages.
And this is it has a very serious, not propagandistic significance directly for the Kremlin. Let me remind you that one of the reasons for launching the so-called special military operation was the issue of guaranteeing the security of the Russian Federation itself. At least that's how Putin and his inner circle explained it. We can see how the war is coming directly to Moscow. And not just Muscovites, we see that the geography of Ukraine's drone attacks is expanding.
Ukrainians have long since gotten used to and adapted to power and heating outages. But for Russians, this is an unexpected surprise. So it's time to start stocking up on matches, candles, and firewood.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine Today. Join us now.
Moreover, Russia is literally sinking. An industrial collapse has hit the Russian Federation. 80% of Russia's industries are in decline. The central bank is sounding the alarm. The country is facing its worst crisis since the 1990s.
Resources are on the verge of being exhausted. Claims about the stability of the Russian economy do not stand up to the facts.
There's no other way to describe it. Well, this is not our choice. We don't want things to develop this way.
Putin is trying to bluff and save face by creating an illusion of success. But it's all in vain. Russia's economy is rapidly going downhill. Almost 80% of the country's industry has fallen into recession.
When we talk about individual sectors, it means that production in these sectors, compared to the same period, usually the previous year, is getting worse. In other words, things aren't getting better, they're getting worse. And that's exactly what a recession is. It's this very decline when you're in the negative. And when a recession becomes prolonged, when it's not just 1 year, but say 3 or 4 years of decline, then it's no longer a recession, it's a depression.
Finally, since September, the overall growth of industrial production in Russia has slowed to 0.3% year-on-year. That's almost 19 times less than last year.
There aren't enough people and there's simply not enough money to pay for the delivery of components or to buy the goods you need for processing. As a result, you end up producing less. And when you produce less, there you have it, a recession, a negative compared to the previous period.
The decline is especially sharp in those civilian industries that were supposed to replace the products of foreign companies that left Russia after the start of the full-scale war.
The collapse of import substitution, when there were plans to replace everything, but in order to replace everything, you have to produce what you're going to use as a substitute. And if you're not producing what you need to substitute, then how are you going to do it? It's substitution with imported products when you're not doing anything yourself. So this is undoubtedly any kind of economic downturn. It means that goods are not being produced. If they're not being produced, then there's no point in keeping the people who make them. And that leads to unemployment. Unemployment is always an unpleasant situation.
In fact, the domestic market is deprived of mass consumer goods and Russian factories are unable to make up for the shortage.
Even the military sector, or at least part of it, namely the production of weapons and ammunition, seems to be affected. In September of this year, compared to last September, Russia saw a decrease of 1.3%. So even the production of weapons and ammunition is now in decline, let alone the rest of the economy, which is showing even worse results.
The central bank has predicted that Russia could experience its worst economic downturn since the 1990s if sanctions are tightened. If the situation does not improve, by 2026 the Kremlin could lose $108 billion in export revenues.
Here the problems are, let's say, still gaining momentum, but we're already seeing the first signs. In Russia, taxes have been rising since the beginning of the year. The federalization levy will be introduced on December 1st, and environmental taxes are set to increase almost tenfold starting November 1st, just about a week from now. In other words, actually just a couple of days. So it turns out that all these various economic problems are cropping up more and more often, and they're constantly making the news because, you know, it's like a Zugzwang situation where you don't have any good options.
Russian Sberbank, following Gazprom, has begun mass layoffs. In the first quarter, the staff of the largest bank, which holds half of all individual deposits, decreased by 8,600 employees, in the second quarter by 3,500, and in the third by 1,500.
From Sberbank of Russia, when they see, here's a direct quote from Sberbank CEO Herman Gref, that throughout 2025 there is not a single new investment project that Sberbank is working on. So the people responsible for this area simply have nothing to do. And since they have nothing to do, well, there's no point in paying them a salary, so they're being laid off. That's why laying people off is a sign that there's no demand for the economic functions Sberbank provides. And accordingly, these people are cut, but this is just one of many examples.
That's the reality, only Putin is trying to hide it all. But there's nowhere left to run. The economy is cracking, the country is losing money. And
what do you think about the troubles that are hitting Russia? We're waiting for your comments. There's more to come. Stay tuned for the main news and don't forget to like. Wishing you peaceful skies above.